I wanted to start with this reading by reading one poem of a person who really motivated me to get into poetry, and it was my mentor at Stanford University, Michael McGriff. I started writing as a sophomore, and I actually almost gave up writing, and he saw my work, and he said, just keep on going, just write some more. And thanks to him, I'm here right now. So I want to start off this reading by reading one poem from his new book, Home Burial. New season. Beside our neighbor's half-burned, half-framed barn, the hip bones of a dead deer continue to be stripped and polished by the rain, an arc of gray electricity traveling between them. And the water, collecting in the ashtray on the porch, isn't a lake, but it's big enough for God to stick his thumb in. I admire the rats in the wall. They rejoice in the night. They call to each other as they work. And secondly, I want to read a part of a poem by Peter Everwine. And this is one of those poems that every single time you read it, somehow it gets newer. And I don't understand how that happens. I'm going to read only one small portion of it, and I feel like every single poem I write somehow stems from this one portion. It's called The Grey Poem by Peter Everwine. 2. There are times when I shut my eyes. I stand in a place from which journeys are forever beginning. In the distance, a small feather of smoke, a haze where the earth falls off. Next, I'm going to read to you some of my newer works. I tend to write really short poems, so there'll be a whole bunch of these, and then I'll read from my book. A few short scenes. 1. An old man in the middle of the crowd becomes a bird. 2. Clouds churning over the mountains will be the first rain in decades. 3. A father, his face full of fists, kneels over his son's still body. The next poem is called Insomnia. Your shoulders hurt like sick birds from all those days you spent tending the wrong garden. Somewhere there must be stars, and these stars must be heavy with age. An old man feels standing in the middle of a dark field. He lowers his head and counts. Your garden is boned in the moonlight. The grass sleeps like 1,000 knives. So recently I went to Muir Woods for the first time, and I had no idea trees could be that big or tall. So this poem is called Walking in Muir Woods at Night. The roots look like fingers reaching out from the ground in search of my mother's black earring. The redwood forest stands like a gathering of religious men. Inside my heart, a window slowly closes. I walk past a stream filled with books that have waterproof pages. I pick up one, but can't read the hieroglyphs. Little elephants whose eyes are searching, princes carrying heavy shields, an old man studying his hands. Above me, the night is a dead bird's bone. Each leaf is murmuring in a child's voice, my own from a century ago, when my soul was under construction. I listen to the forest with my skin open. I put my breath on boats and set them off to the moon for inspection. So ever since immigrating to America, I've had a culture shock, to say the least. So I've had a lot of difficulty combining the Eastern Hemisphere's way of thinking and the Western Hemisphere's way of thinking, and that led me to search for what is meaning in life. Like, how do you find yourself? So this next poem is called Blueprint. I hear voices passing between the barks. Telephone conversations that leaked through the wires found themselves lost in all the crossroads of the forest. I ask God for my blueprints. He hands me a thin, rectangular box, as lightweight as an insect. My skull rings like a church bell hidden among the canopies. All the clocks in the sky continue talking. And now to read some poems from my book. So my book came about this transfer that I had from coming to Dhaka, from coming to America from Dhaka, and I never realized how much I missed home till I actually left it. So I missed all the people there, I missed the culture, and I'm exceptionally excited to come to America. So I was wondering, where does this longing come from? And that's the topic that I explore in my book. This poem is coming a little bit from my engineering side. It's called To a Friend. I am 0.9066 gigainches tall. According to the equation we derived as children, I'd grow at the rate of Dhaka's population. Scientists are wrong about the weight of light. It is exactly 132.3 kilograms, the weight of a ripened guava. All those times we'd stay up till sunrise under our schoolyard guava trees, eating guavas under the summer skies of Dhaka. We were eating light. You once told me the economy operates on a sine wave. And it does, according to O-level economics. But we were just demagnetized iron bars, dreaming of facing north with complete certainty. Lately, I've seen landslides in the twilight. I've seen streams of blackened water, sad smoke rising from the structures of economies, wingless birds whose feathers are ice. Standing on a heap of garbage, miles of dead computers, rusted cars, and abandoned blenders. But I've also had the fun of drilling through mountains with a screwdriver, cutting through stainless steel with plasma, and drinking from lakes 17,000 feet high. I wish you could see how blue a light wave of 475 nanometers can be. When I solved a 13-step differential equation in 12, I thought of you. I wish you had eaten the food I cooked on top of Mount Everest, using a stove with striking similarities to the mud stoves we made as children. I like rain a lot, and in Bangladesh it rains 7 months of the year. So this poem is about rain and how I imagine people there living in the rain. And it's called It's Raining Again. And the old man sitting on the stairs is still sitting on the stairs, wearing a leathered face. A rickshaw puller tries to light a wet cigarette. A dog in the corner drinks the overflow. Entire alleyways are stripped of color. Nearby, a river begins its migration to the fields and homes where people sit without clothing. They whisper about disease, about the acceptable ways of burying their children. Next one is called Self-Portrait with Glass Bottle and Kite. I've spent so many years with the glass bottle my uncle gave me during a barbecue in the monsoon rains. That day we ate burgers soggy with curry sauce, debated Syed Anwar's batting form, and wondered which cinema hall would be bombed next. My father gave me a kite when I was 3. It looked like the Great Barrier Reefs of Australia. My mother made it from the woven threads of jute. I learned how to fly on the summer winds of Dhaka. Now sitting on a bench at Jopul Lake in Cedar Hill, Texas, I watch the birds dismantle my kite. This glass bottle is clear as the mountains I imagine on the horizon. I've seen bones rain down from this Texas sky. I remember the blood-stained windows that gave birth to my country. This poem was my first ekphractics poem. Ekphractis? I'm not saying that right. It's a poem you write when you see a picture and then you write a poem from it. So this one's called Gone Off Alone. I heard your windshield crack in a dream. The washing machine churns with stained bed sheets. I lean forward and listen to the graying of my hair. Another one of my inspirations for this book was my father. He had been going through a hard time in his life as I was writing this book. So this poem is called A Few Words to My Father. Water, hills, gates, smoke rushing into the stony channels of your chest. The sandals on your feet gather moss. Your eyes are the color of limestone after years of rain. Nothing I do will change anything. So after coming to America, we settled in this really small town called Duncanville. Have anybody heard of it? Yeah, I didn't either. It's a really tiny town and there's nothing there except a Walmart, which is very interesting because when I came there, I asked my uncle, hey, I want to do something American. And he took me to Walmart. So that was pretty exciting. This poem is called As I Walk in Armstrong Park at 4:13 a.m. The lights flicker. A giant wooden castle stands in the middle of the park, surrounded by sand. By the corner, swings sway by themselves. The air inside me whispers. I hear someone talking about a past in which this patch of land floated in the sky. On April 21st, 1856, a cowboy lassoed it down and called it Duncanville. That night, lying under the stars, he froze to death. Only the emptiness here remembers him. This poem is called You. Why are you worried about the silk threads hanging from my wounds? Why are you so concerned about the grass growing under our house? Don't be troubled by the ancient ropes that carried the bodies of my ancestors, or the silver light that shines through my past, the speeches of insects, the trees taking root in the smallest muscles of my head. Another first that I had here was snow. I've actually not seen snow till 2008, and it was quite an exciting time. I didn't know snow could be hard, so I thought it was all powdery. So I started picking stuff up and throwing it, and I broke a window, which wasn't too great, but it was okay. I got to see snow. And this was in Tahoe. This poem is called The Water of Lake Tahoe. The sound of water repairs my skin. I stand inside the wind, breathing in the tips of waves and the branches coated in pre-dawn ice. I'm afraid to go anywhere. I'm afraid of the empty rooms that await me, the photos on my table that must be sorted, the heaps of paper being folded by the ghosts who refuse to haunt me. So I moved here, like I said, about 8 years ago, and not until this year actually have I gotten to know my brother. And I have a little brother. He's only 3 years younger than me, but I never got to spend any time with him. And as I was writing this book, I felt this urge to connect with him somehow, and I thought I could do it with a poem. This poem is called Hello, Brother. I pick up an earthworm, and you shoot it with a rifle. Mom screams at us, but we don't listen. She fed us expired milk this morning. Sometimes in these Bengali summers, when dust sticks to our skins and the crows shit on our heads, we bond like hydrocarbons, set mosquitoes on fire, and eat berries whose names we can't remember. We ride our bikes like metal antelopes, like drunken sparrows. We play cricket under the monsoon clouds, and you bowl a perfect leg spinner. It starts to rain, so I shoot down a cloud. We take it back to Mom, who kisses our ears and pokes our eyes. She does that. We get ready for bed with our usual battles, and you fall asleep, not knowing I slid the alarm clock under your pillow, set for 3:17 a.m. So this one time I was in Italy, and I was going to Munich. The train was supposed to come at 12 a.m. and in Germany I heard everything's on time, everything's 97% efficient, great, trains never miss their time. And I heard it was exactly the opposite in Italy. So when I was there, the train was supposed to come at 12 a.m. Can you guys guess when it came? 5 a.m. So that was pretty cool. And I actually got the chance to write this poem during that time. This poem is called On the Night Train to Munich. The Spirit asks me a simple question. Yellow. All the lights here are yellow, dead and slow, trying to make each town we pass their home. The man beside me talks in his sleep. I don't understand him, but I hear needles in his voice. Maybe he thinks he's dying on this train from a disease only he believes in, and is now saying a prayer to God. Maybe he lost his God and wants nothing on this train. Outside, the moonlight falls on boarded shops, trees stripped naked, streets as empty as my grandmother's eyes as her bones whiten too early. I close my eyes and see a blind man begging on the corner, the shape of a leather factory towering behind him. My 7-year-old eyes could have watched him die and felt no pity. But on this train to Munich, I am made only of grass, my body spread thin along the colored banks of the Brahmaputra River. Soon I will grow old. The railroad will sing. My breath will turn to snow and fall over my family cemetery. I think that's it for me for tonight. Thank you very much.